Bonjour my brethren, DigiWiz here, and welcome back to another YouTube video. And today is the day! Yes! This episode marks the end of the Project Aperture trilogy with the final assembly of the portal gun, and, also some advice to take when spray painting something in Ireland, particularly something 3D printed. So with that out of the way, on with the video! So, where we left off last time, you may remember that the portal gun was pretty close to completion. Only had a few more bits and bobs to put together. At this point, I was starting to consider the cosmetic options for the portal gun, as it also had to look nice as well as function nice. Yes, I know how to English. As this was going to be, being showcased at the Comic-Con in spring, under the scrutiny of many basement-dwelling nerds such as myself. One key part I definitely did not want to leave unattended was the casing for the core of the portal gun, because the core just isn't a long stick. It's like a tube. I did what any resourceful young lad would do. I hacked away at a water bottle with an X-Acto knife, checking the dimensions with a ruler. First, come on, it's water bottle frick cutting 101, guys, come on. I got something that somewhat resembled a cylinder, well, like, spread flat out, because I don't really think flimsy plastic cylinders exist, at least not that I know of. I fitted it onto the core, and when everything lit up, it looked so good, you guys. Oh my god. Also had little ridges on it, which I didn't think would look good, but it actually added that extra little something to looked so good. Something to its appearance, which is always important. Continuing on my tirade on absconding with every bit of trash I could find, because money is everything, I literally dove into a trailer in front of my house looking for wires to use for the cables on the portal gun. They were perfect to complete the look for the portal gun. Yes, yes, yes. And so I, haphazardly measured the cable lengths, because they were like stuck in this kind of like bent position, which I couldn't really get exact measurements on. So I just kind of eyeballed it, which is kind of how I spent most of the measuring for this portal gun. And I cut the cables down to size. I fed them onto the portal gun, and they looked long enough, so I just left it at that. So now, after the dumpster diving escapades, it was back to the soldering station for me. So I went for some minor soldering jobs. One thing that was really frickin' annoying about the resistors for the SD card module and NeoPix was that they kept popping out of their jumper cables. So, a basic solution for this was just soldering the fuck out of the wires to attach them to the resistors, and then wrapped the daisy chain cables in a lot of electrical tape, because I did not want this getting loose at all. And I also did the same daisy chaining shtick for power, data, and ground for the NeoPixels, as well as the buttons, because didn't have enough pins. Otherwise, I would have need to get a whole nother Arduino then if I'd wanted to have one ground pin, like, per ground terminal. It just was never going to work. At this point, all the setup for the function of the portal gun was completed, so the next step was post-processing. Yay! So I put a white Aperture logo at the front of the portal gun so that the light from the NeoPixel ring I put there would get diffused and look really cool, which it did, and it looked so cool. I just said cool twice. There were a lot of holes in the portal gun shells. That's what she said. Due to under extrusion, because that's how printers like to inflict pain upon me. It's their favorite form of torture. I don't really know why they do it, if I'm being honest. I smeared marine filler on the major blemishes to fill them in. I used marine filler because one, it was on hand, and two, it's used on boats, so it's fairly strong, I expect, in it. Won't be that susceptible to wear and tear, which will definitely be something that would happen where you're when you're at a Comic Con surrounded by sweaty nerds who have just vacated their mother's basements. Once the spreading was done, I sanded the absolute shit out of the shell parts to make them smooth, like something really smooth, so the paint will work better with it or something. I don't really know. I'm new at paint. I'm new at this whole prop making thing. I don't know all the ropes yet. About to start painting when disaster struck. Ireland's weather pattern. In order to paint the darn gun, I need certain conditions, i.e., be dry for longer than 1 millisecond, or a few days. That's just being generous, though. Apparently, Ireland didn't feel the same way and rained for 99% of the day, which is a very big bruh. Because when it would only stop raining in the evening, but then it's too cold to paint it. So, ugh. So, as a solution, Monsieur DigiWiz offered setting up his greenhouse for use as a painting booth, which solved that problem. But I still needed to wait for perfect, like literally perfect weather conditions for when it was like at least above 11 degrees, which was really annoying. One more thing I wanted to put on the portal gun to give it that extra little bit of swag was putting decals on the side for identifiability, because we all know, the Aperture Laboratories portal gun, but I want to put my own little spin on it. So I called it DigiWiz Laboratories, with then an Among Us crewmate as the logo, so it had my unique personality. Because only someone loves Among Us as much as I do. That's literally fact. I don't think anyone likes Among Us as much as I do, even unironically. Which, I mean, of course, is ironic. I'm not obsessed with it. The solution I found worked the easiest, using it in the loosest sense of the word, was printing on sticky back paper, cutting it out, and sticking that onto the portal gun. Seemed easy enough. My paper of choice were these A4 labels I got from David Walsh's, one of the many illustrious establishments dotted around my town. It's a very profitable town, mine. It's got so many good establishments that are definitely not closed. So it was pretty simple to use, just print and peel. Well, that should be like their slogan on it, like print and peel. That'd be like way catchier. Before setting everything up with the paint and some Loctite, that's the super glue I've been using, I temporarily put everything together and tested out the portal gun. And it didn't go well the first time because, of course, the solder joints were pure and utter shite. I didn't really know how to solder stuff competently. At that point, I was just getting sick of the electrical problems. So I turned my attention to the aesthetic department once again. The white parts on the portal gun are normally glossy and shiny, and I kinda wanted a similar aesthetic, just gotta have that game accuracy, my guys. Unfortunately, only one of the cover parts were able to get painted properly because the cold weather soon began to set in. If I wanted a working portal gun by March, I was going to need to hurry the fuck up and finish the portal gun. Otherwise, no portal gun. We can't have that. I decided, sure, fucking hell with it. And I went back to the electronics, much to my dismay. So during that time, got a pretty nifty looking orange jumpsuit. You might see it later in the video, you might not. But it looked perfect, for just cosplaying as an Aperture Science test subject, because, apparently Aperture Science is a prison. They all wear orange jumpsuits. Or apparently boiler suits, as I found out my jumpsuit was called. So, although I didn't want to make the long fall boots because I couldn't really be fucking bothered, if I'm being honest. The problem, the electrical variety kicked off right away when I went back to work on them, when the NeoPixel stick used to light up properly and only flickered red, because of course it did. And I wasn't really in the mood for this, because Comic-Con was, in less than 2 weeks, it's not that big a deal. Only gotta, have everything done and put together by, Thursday. But brother FizzyWiz pulled a mega big brain moment. Seriously, FizzyWiz is a true G, my guys. Oh my god. After that little speech, so he suggested that I update the libraries for the NeoPixels, and I did that, and lo and behold, it fucking worked. So, shout out for FizzyWiz for being a mega giga chad. After that little speed bump, I could get rockin' and rollin' once again. Before getting fully stuck back into the electronic aspect of the portal gun again, I decided to glue the cables for the front of the gun into their respective inserts, which was an arduous task in and of itself. For 2 hours, the cables were just not bond whatsoever, although they worked in the end, so no harm, no foul. I then inspected the different LEDs and buttons and realized I needed resoldering because, of course, my soldering skills are absolute shit. But, oh my god, somehow the grace of God himself came down from the heavens and gave me godlike soldering powers. I don't know where they came from, but I wasn't complaining. I resoldered everything, the 5-volt pins, the ground, the data, everything I resoldered with these Giga Chad skills. Although the NeoPixels then started acting up again. So Father DigiWiz himself pulled a big brain moment and fixed the NeoPixel stick for me so it could get working again. So in reality, the Wiz family are basically electronic geniuses if you think about it, basically. Yeah. So I then soldered resistors. No, I then resoldered resistors onto the pins, onto the. Oh, I can't talk today. On the TX and RX pins for the DF Player Mini, which meant there would not be a chance of those popping free, which is good. I then put in the power bank, Arduino, as well as everything else, and it worked first try. Now, it did work first try, and if you say anything different, then you obviously don't get top 5 in Fortnite. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. I just follow them, buckaroo. Next up is all the mechanical assembly of the gun. I would like to say it was smooth sailing from here on out, but I think you all know the answer at this point. Firstly, the back shell. Oh my god, the back shell. Okay, so there are these two screw mounts. Yeah, there are these two screw mounts at the back of the shell. You have to screw stuff in. You had to get bolts in there to secure it, and oh my god, I was there for nearly an hour just trying to get the nuts on. Yes, I know that's what she said. But anyway, I was able to get it on with the end. Oh my god, but I do not want to go through that again. I'm so glad I don't have to reassemble the portal gun. Cross fingers and touch wood. Okay. So I was nearly seeing red by the end of it. After that, I mean, it was genuinely easy going. Attached the outer tube, I screwed on the nozzle and put on the remaining back portion of the shell. Glue the two halves together. While I waited for that, I went to print off a decal for the side of the gun. Speaking of which, let's print that right now.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, is it the paper? Let's go! Yeah, let's go!
So I slapped on the decal, which displays one of the finest of organizations. The next few steps weren't really that eventful, just gluing stuff together and other boring things. Gluing, though, was the last step. So, ladies and gentlemen, DigiWiz presents to you the end of a saga, the portal gun. Well, that was the portal gun. And yes, it looks very nice. So that's it. That was the culmination of 3 years of work. And oh my god. It it looks freaking amazing, doesn't it? Oh my god. Yeah, I cannot wait to prance around Comic Con with that in my hand. Oh my god. Oh yeah. Okay, well, that's Project Aperture Part 3, guys. You gotta see the portal gun. Unfortunately, none of that sexy B-roll shit that all them big shot YouTubers do, but hey, it's the best I could do. So, thank you guys so much for watching all through this trilogy, and maybe you'll see some pictures of me on the Comic-Con Facebook, the Dublin Comic-Con Facebook group. I might also put some pictures up on Instagram. You never know. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, be sure to send that fucking subscribe button through a portal onto the moon or something. I don't know. Still don't know how to do this. So, au revoir, my brethren. Good night.